Drake's new Complex interview just dropped, and hidden in there is a clue that tells us exactly when episode 4 is happening. While everyone's focused on the obvious quotes, I caught something that changes everything. Plus, Drake just posted photos with Seexyyy Red, and I have serious concerns about what that means for the album. You need to hear this before episode 4 drops. Drake recently sat down with Complex, not in person, but through an email exchange. Not only did Drake share his thoughts, but his manager, Matt Babel, also weighed in. Together, they discussed various aspects of the Iceman project, providing insight into their journey so far and potentially offering a glimpse into what's next. In this video, I'll break down some key highlights in the interview, dive into some fan theories surrounding episode 4, and even give myself a little credit for being right about a few things. I'll also share my predictions for what's to come. Be sure to watch the entire video. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you think. Some fans are eagerly anticipating Iceman, while others are skeptical, claiming the album might never drop. But rather than focus on the negativity, let's stick to the facts, enjoy the music as it rolls out, and appreciate the process. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get into it. First, let's look at Drake's thoughts on the opportunity for a clean slate. Coming off his recent R&B album with Party Next Door, some sexy songs for you, Drake acknowledged that after back and forth with Kendrick Lamar, he hasn't released a pure rap album in a while. I believe that's exactly what Iceman will be. He described this phase of his career as a new experience, where he can simultaneously communicate his message and deliver new music. He's excited about doing both at once. Instead of following the traditional route, releasing a single, then a video, then waiting to see what resonates before doing more, Drake wanted to break the mold. He aimed to push the boundaries and do something different. That's where the live stream format for Iceman comes in, which I've been saying all along is one of the most innovative rollouts in rap music history. We've never seen anything quite like this. In the next quote, Drake says he's been dying to act and has been craving a challenge. I think the live streams have provided exactly that. They're unpredictable by nature. No matter how much you plan, anything can happen. You have to be prepared for the unexpected. And that requires a certain level of improvisation, which ties into Drake's acting ambitions. Remember, Drake has made a number of cameo appearances, including in the Canadian sitcom The Office Movers. You might also recall his role in Degrassi, among other projects. He's no stranger to the world of acting, and I believe that experience is shining through his approach to this Iceman rollout. Drake has shown himself to be an exceptional actor, and the live stream for Iceman give him a unique opportunity to flex those skills. In addition to his appearances, he actively interacts with the audience and shows real emotion, as these streams require more than just talking. They demand a creative performance. This format allows him to explore new ways of expressing himself beyond his usual musical roles. Drake also shares his thoughts on the genre as a whole, noting that no one is really rocking the boat in hip-hop right now. The waters are smooth, and he's looking to stir things up. What better way to do that than with a new project, a project that's rolled out in a way no one else is doing? By embracing innovation in both the content and the delivery, Drake aims to push the genre forward in ways that his contemporaries have not. The next set of quotes comes from both Drake and Matt Babel, where they discuss the challenges of pulling off this ambitious live stream concept. When you're in a foreign country, there's little time for practice or rehearsals. You have to anticipate the unpredictable. Questions like, do we have a police escort? Or is security in place? Become critical. There's always a possibility that someone might try to sabotage the stream. This kind of production is not easy, and it requires a lot of patience from fans who don't always see the behind-the-scenes challenges. Whether they're in Italy or the UK, the team has to navigate unfamiliar landscapes, and it's not as simple as just setting up and going live. They have to ensure that there's reliable Wi-Fi, and if the signal cuts out, what's the backup plan? There's a complex web of factors to consider. Language barriers, obtaining permits, organizing the camera crew, rehearsals, and more. These details are often overlooked, but they're essential to making this vision come to life. When it comes to taking risks and pushing boundaries, Drake stands out as one of the few willing to experiment in hip-hop. In the realm of pushing the genre forward, It's really Drake and Kanye West who have led the way. Drake's Dance album and Kanye's Yeezus are perfect examples of how they're not just creating music, but exploring new sounds and expanding the genre's boundaries. They're not inventing entirely new waves, but rather incorporating different beats, patterns, and vocals to create something fresh. Drake's ability to push the envelope in this way is part of what keeps him at the forefront of the genre. He also touches on the problem of complacency in the music industry. Many artists become stagnant and stop experimenting once they find success. But in order to push boundaries, you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. You have to stay ahead of the audience and the trend. How often do we hear people criticize a Drake album in its first week, and then a few weeks later, those same people are saying, "This is actually a sleeper"? Even Joe Budden has admitted to initially trashing some of Drake's projects, only to later come around and acknowledge their value. This process takes time. Sometimes the full impact of something great isn't clear right away. It can take a step back, some distance, to realize why something is important. I believe that as people look back on Iceman and its rollout, they will see just how significant this moment in music is and why it matters in the long run. One of my favorite parts of the interview was Drake's thoughts on fan theories. He expressed that he enjoys the theories because they engage people with the content and encourage them to try to predict the messages he's trying to convey. Now, I'll give myself a little credit here. There are two creators who I believe have really led the charge in breaking down Drake's rollout. The biggest one being What's the Dirt, who has done in-depth analyses of Drake's lyrics, songs, and the Iceman rollout right after him. I believe I'm next in line in terms of breaking things down and providing insightful analysis on the project. I'm pretty confident that Drake has seen the content from creators like us, and I think it's likely that he checks out the community's reactions and ideas. It wouldn't surprise me if he looks at some of these breakdowns, laughs at them, or even gets some inspiration from them. The way we see things as fans and creators might give him perspectives that he, as the artist, might not have considered. It's a two-way street. He gets to see what's resonating with the audience, what's working and what's not. Maybe I'm a little crazy for thinking this, but I think there's a strong case to be made that he's at least paying attention to the content out there. And if nothing else, it's out there and it's a part of the conversation. Now, Drake also mentioned that the finale will be our best work. This is a statement that can make some people eat their words. And trust me, there are plenty of people who need to. There were those who claimed Drake scrapped Iceman and the entire rollout. They said he gave up, that he was running scared, that the project was dead in the water. But they were wrong. Dead wrong. As I said before, he was just taking his time, being strategic, perfecting the vision. And now we are getting that final piece. The patience is paying off. We know that episode 4 is coming, and personally, I believe episode 4 will be the last one, the grand finale that ties everything together. If you've seen my predictions for the 4th episode, you already know where I stand on this. But if you haven't, you can check out my full breakdown on my channel, and I'll link it right here for easy access. I go deep into what I think Drake has planned, the symbolism, the locations, everything. Now, as for fan theories, and there are some really interesting ones out there, Licensed Drake and Driver have both done incredibly in-depth breakdowns that are worth checking out. Licensed Drake thinks episode 4 will take place in Tokyo, and he's hinted that it might happen this week or next week. The Tokyo theory is fascinating because of the visual aesthetic, the cultural significance, and how it would tie into Drake's global brand. It would be a bold, unexpected choice, very on-brand for someone who's always trying to push boundaries. However, as for me, I have a different take. I believe it will be one of 3 cities: Toronto, Houston, or LA. Now, let me explain why. These cities offer the most control over the elements that are needed for a grand finale of this magnitude. First, there's no language barrier, which means smoother communication with everyone involved in production. Second, they can rehearse extensively without logistical nightmares. Third, the environment will be familiar and comfortable for Drake and his team. These are his home bases. Fourth, and perhaps most importantly, these cities have deep personal and cultural significance to Drake's story and his music. Toronto is obvious. It's where everything started. It's home. It's the city that made him. If Drake wants to bring things full circle and end where it all began, Toronto will be the most emotionally resonant choice. Houston represents his connection to the South, his relationship with a culture that influences sound, and his ties to people like Bun B and the late DJ Screw. LA is where the industry magic happens, where deals are made, where stars are born. It's Hollywood, it's glamour, it's the entertainment capital of the world. These factors lead me to believe that the final episode will happen in one of these locations. But here's the thing. Whichever city Drake chooses, you can bet it's going to be executed flawlessly. This is the finale. This is what everything has been building toward, in terms of timing. And this is where things get really interesting. I think episode 4 will likely drop before the end of the year. We're talking weeks, not months. The momentum is building. The anticipation is at an all-time high. And Drake knows that striking while the iron is hot is crucial. But as for the album itself, if we don't get within the next couple of weeks, which is still very possible, I'm confident it'll come in January or February, right at the start of Q1. And here's why I'm so confident about this. I've already told people that he's been working on the album. This isn't speculation. This isn't wishful thinking. This is information that's been confirmed through multiple sources. So there's no need to worry, no need to panic, no need to believe in naysayers who claim Drake is washed or that he's lost his touch. Drake and many members of OVO have been recording in the Bahamas, and I'm convinced, absolutely convinced, that he's working on a masterpiece. And if you know anything about Drake's creative process, you know that this detail is crucial. He's known for recording some of his best music in the Caribbean, whether it's Turks and Caicos, the Bahamas, or elsewhere in the region. This is where the magic happens. This is where he finds his creative zone. Think about it. Some of his most iconic albums and songs were created in these tropical settings. There's something about the atmosphere, the relaxation, the distance from the chaos of the industry that allows him to tap into something deeper. When Drake goes to the Caribbean to record, he's not just making music. He's crafting an experience, a vibe, a moment in time that will resonate with millions of people. So when people ask me, is Drake really coming back strong? Is this album going to be worth the wait? My answer is always the same. Yes, absolutely yes. The man is in his creative sanctuary, surrounded by his closest collaborators, working without distractions or outside pressure. If that doesn't set the stage for a masterpiece, I don't know what does. The finale is coming. The album is coming. And based on everything I'm seeing, everything I'm hearing, everything that's been set in motion, it's going to be worth the wait. Mark my words. That said, I do have one point of concern. Drake recently posted some photos with Seexyyy Red, and that raised a flag for me. That either means she's going to be featured on the album, or maybe they're working on a video together. I'm a little worried about that. Don't get me wrong. Shout out to Seexyyy Red. I respect her hustle, and she's been on several of Drake's tracks. But personally, I don't want to hear her style on this album. I know she's close to Drake, and there's a lot of love there. But I just hope her influence doesn't overshadow the direction that I'm hoping the album will go in. I know some of you might be hoping for a collaboration between Drake and Seexyyy Red. But honestly, that's not what I'm looking for. I want to hear a Drake project that's driven by his vision, with maybe just a few select features that complement his sound. But, of course, he's definitely going to have some features on the album. Naomi Sharon has been in the mix lately, but sometimes it's just about being around good energy that helps bring out the best in you. So, while I think there's a chance she'll be on the album based on the photos, I'm not certain. She could just be there for the vibes. Honestly, it's hard to say. I'd love to hear what you all think. Though, what are your thoughts on the interview? When do you think the album is dropping? And when do you expect episode 4 to release? Who do you think is going to feature on the album? I've noticed a lot of producers and even some rappers have been posting photos after taking sneaky flights, so it's clear something's brewing. You got to read between the lines. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for tuning into the video. Until next time, I'm Jay Roebuck, and I appreciate you being here.